Chapters 1 through 7 of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Book of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation. Chapter 1. And Jehovah calleth unto Moses, and speaketh unto him out of the tent of meeting, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, Any man of you, when he doth bring near an offering to Jehovah, out of the cattle, out of the herd, or out of the flock, ye do bring near your offering. If his offering is a burnt offering out of the herd, a male, a perfect one, he doth bring near. Unto the opening of the tent of meeting he doth bring it near, at his pleasure, before Jehovah. And he hath laid his hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it hath been accepted for him, to make atonement for him. And he hath slaughtered the son of the herd before Jehovah, and sons of Aaron, the priests, have brought the blood near, and sprinkled the blood on the altar round about, which is at the opening of the tent of meeting. And he hath stripped the burnt offering, and hath cut it into its pieces. And the sons of Aaron the priest have put fire on the altar, and arranged wood on the fire. And sons of Aaron the priests have arranged the pieces with the head and the fat on the wood, which is on the fire, which is on the altar. And its inwards and its legs he doth wash with water, and the priest hath made perfume with the whole on the altar, a burnt offering, a fire offering of sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And if his offering is out of the flock, out of the sheep or out of the goats, for a burnt offering, a male, a perfect one he doth bring near. And he hath slaughtered it by the side of the altar northward before Jehovah. And sons of Aaron the priests have sprinkled its blood on the altar round about. And he hath cut it into its pieces, and its head and its fat, and the priest hath arranged them on the wood which is on the fire, which is on the altar. And the inwards and the legs he doth wash with water, and the priest hath brought the whole near, and hath made perfume on the altar. It is a burnt offering, a fire offering of sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And if his offering is a burnt offering out of the fowl to Jehovah, then he hath brought near his offering out of the turtle doves, or out of the young pigeons, and the priest hath brought it near unto the altar, and hath wrung off its head, and hath made perfume on the altar. And its blood hath been wrung out by the side of the altar. And he hath turned aside its crop with its feathers, and hath cast it near the altar, eastward, unto the place of ashes. And he hath cleaved it with its wings, he doth not separate it. And the priest hath made it a perfume on the altar, on the wood which is on the fire. It is a burnt offering, a fire offering of sweet fragrance to Jehovah. Chapter 2. And when a person bringeth near an offering, a present to Jehovah, of flour is his offering, and he hath poured on it oil, and hath put on it frankincense. And he hath brought it in unto the sons of Aaron the priests, and he hath taken from thence the fulness of his hand, of its flour and of its oil, besides all its frankincense. And the priest hath made perfume with its memorial on the altar, a fire offering of sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And the remnant of the present is for Aaron and for his sons, most holy, of the fire offerings of Jehovah. And when thou bringest near an offering, a present baked in an oven, it is of unleavened cakes of flour mixed with oil, or thin unleavened cakes anointed with oil. And if thine offering is a present made on the griddle, it is of flour mixed with oil, unleavened. Divide thou it into parts, and thou hast poured on it oil, it is a present. And if thine offering is a present made on the frying pan, of flour with oil it is made, and thou hast brought in the present which is made of these to Jehovah, and one hath brought it near unto the priest, and he hath brought it nigh unto the altar. And the priest hath lifted up from the present its memorial, and hath made perfume on the altar, a fire offering of sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And the remnant of the present is for Aaron and for his sons, most holy, of the fire offerings of Jehovah. No present which ye bring near to Jehovah is made fermented, for with any leaven or any honey ye perfume no fire offering to Jehovah. An offering of firstfruits, ye bring them near to Jehovah. but on the altar they go not up for sweet fragrance. And every offering, thy present, with salt thou dost season, and thou dost not let the salt of the covenant of thy God cease from thy present. With all thine offerings thou dost bring near salt. And if thou bring near a present of first-ripe fruits to Jehovah, of green ears roasted with fire, beaten out corn of a fruitful field thou dost bring near the present of thy first-ripe fruits. And thou hast put on it oil, and laid on it frankincense, it is a present. And the priest hath made perfume with its memorial from its beaten out corn, and from its oil, besides all its frankincense, a fire offering to Jehovah. Chapter 3. And if his offering is a sacrifice of peace offerings, if out of the herd he is bringing near, whether male or female, a perfect one he doth bring near before Jehovah, and he hath laid his hand on the head of his offering, and hath slaughtered it at the opening of the tent of meeting, and sons of Aaron the priests have sprinkled the blood on the altar round about. And he hath brought near from the sacrifice of the peace offerings a fire offering to Jehovah, the fat which is covering the inwards, and all the fat which is on the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat which is on them, which is on the flanks, and the redundance above the liver. Beside the kidneys he doth turn it aside. And sons of Aaron have made it a perfume on the altar, on the burnt offering which is on the wood, which is on the fire, a fire offering of sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And if his offering is out of the flock for a sacrifice of peace offerings to Jehovah, male or female, a perfect one he doth bring near. If a sheep he is bringing near for his offering, then he hath brought it near before Jehovah, and hath laid his hand on the head of his offering, and hath slaughtered it before the tent of meeting. And sons of Aaron have sprinkled its blood on the altar round about. And he hath brought near from the sacrifice of the peace offerings a fire offering to Jehovah. Its fat, the whole fat tail, over against the bone he doth turn it aside, and the fat which is covering the inwards, and all the fat which is on the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat which is on them, which is on the flanks, and the redundance above the liver, beside the kidneys he doth turn it aside. And the priest hath made it a perfume on the altar, bread of a fire offering to Jehovah. And if his offering is a goat, then he hath brought it near before Jehovah, and hath laid his hand on its head, and hath slaughtered it before the tent of meeting. And sons of Aaron have sprinkled its blood on the altar round about. And he hath brought near from it his offering, a fire offering to Jehovah, the fat which is covering the inwards, and all the fat which is on the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat which is upon them, which is on the flanks, and the redundance above the liver. Beside the kidneys he doth turn it aside. And the priest hath made them a perfume on the altar, bread of a fire offering for sweet fragrance. All the fat is Jehovah's. A statute age-during to your generations in all your dwellings. Any fat or any blood ye do not eat. Chapter 4. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, saying, When a person doth sin through ignorance against any of the commands of Jehovah regarding things which are not to be done, and hath done something against one of these, if the priest who is anointed doth sin according to the guilt of the people, then he hath brought near for his sin which he hath sinned a bullock, a son of the herd, a perfect one to Jehovah for a sin offering. And he hath brought in the bullock unto the opening of the tent of meeting before Jehovah, and hath laid his hand on the head of the bullock, and hath slaughtered the bullock before Jehovah. And the priest who is anointed hath taken of the blood of the bullock, and hath brought it in unto the tent of meeting. And the priest hath dipped his finger in the blood, and sprinkled of the blood 7 times before Jehovah, at the front of the veil of the sanctuary. And the priest hath put of the blood on the horns of the altar of spice perfume before Jehovah, which is in the tent of meeting. And all the blood of the bullock he doth pour out at the foundation of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the opening of the tent of meeting. And all the fat of the bullock of the sin offering he doth lift up from it, the fat which is covering over the inwards, and all the fat which is on the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat which is on them, which is on the flanks, and the redundance above the liver. Beside the kidneys he doth turn it aside. As it is lifted up from the ox of the sacrifice of the peace offerings, and the priest hath made them a perfume on the altar of the burnt offering. And the skin of the bullock, and all its flesh, besides its head, and besides its legs, and its inwards, and its dung, he hath even brought out the whole bullock unto the outside of the camp, unto a clean place, unto the place of the pouring out of the ashes, and he hath burnt it on the wood with fire, beside the place of the pouring out of the ashes it is burnt. And if the whole company of Israel err ignorantly, and the thing hath been hidden from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done something against one of all the commandments of Jehovah concerning things which are not to be done, and have been guilty, when the sin which they have sinned concerning it hath been known, then have the assembly brought near a bullock, a son of the herd, for a sin offering, and they have brought it in before the tent of meeting. And the elders of the company have laid their hands on the head of the bullock before Jehovah, and one hath slaughtered the bullock before Jehovah. And the priest who was anointed hath brought in of the blood of the bullock unto the tent of meeting. And the priest hath dipped his finger in the blood, and hath sprinkled 7 times before Jehovah at the front of the veil. And some of the blood he doth put on the horns of the altar which is before Jehovah, which is in the tent of meeting. And all the blood he doth pour out at the foundation of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the opening of the tent of meeting. And all its fat he doth lift up from it, and hath made perfume on the altar. And he hath done to the bullock as he hath done to the bullock of the sin offering, so he doth to it. And the priest hath made atonement for them, and it hath been forgiven them. And he hath brought out the bullock unto the outside of the camp, and hath burned it as he hath burned the first bullock. It is a sin offering of the assembly. When a prince doth sin, and hath done something against one of all the commandments of Jehovah his God, regarding things which are not to be done, through ignorance, and hath been guilty, or his sin wherein he hath sinned hath been made known unto him, then he hath brought in his offering, a kid of the goats, a male, a perfect one. And he hath laid his hand on the head of the goat, and hath slaughtered it in the place where he doth slaughter the burnt offering before Jehovah. It is a sin offering. And the priest hath taken of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and hath put on the horns of the altar of the burnt offering, and its blood he doth pour out at the foundation of the altar of the burnt offering. And with all its fat he doth make perfume on the altar, as the fat of the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest hath made atonement for him because of his sin, and it hath been forgiven him. And if any person of the people of the land sin through ignorance by his doing something against one of the commands of Jehovah, regarding things which are not to be done, and hath been guilty, or his sin which he hath sinned hath been made known unto him, then he hath brought in his offering, a kid of the goats, a perfect one, a female, for his sin which he hath sinned. And he hath laid his hand on the head of the sin offering, and hath slaughtered the sin offering in the place of the burnt offering. And the priest hath taken of its blood with his finger, and hath put on the horns of the altar of the burnt offering, and all its blood he doth pour out at the foundation of the altar. And all its fat he doth turn aside, as the fat hath been turned aside from off the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest hath made perfume on the altar, for sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And the priest hath made atonement for him, and it hath been forgiven him. And if he bring in a sheep for his offering, for a sin offering, a female, a perfect one, he doth bring in. And he hath laid his hand on the head of the sin offering, and hath slaughtered it for a sin offering in the place where he slaughtereth the burnt offering. And the priest hath taken of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and hath put on the horns of the altar of the burnt offering, and all its blood he poureth out at the foundation of the altar. And all its fat he turneth aside, as the fat of the sheep is turned aside from the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest hath made them a perfume on the altar, according to the fire offerings of Jehovah. And the priest hath made atonement for him, for his sin which he hath sinned, and it hath been forgiven him. Chapter 5. And when a person doth sin, and hath heard the voice of an oath, and he is witness, or hath seen, or hath known, if he declare not, then he hath borne his iniquity. Or when a person cometh against anything unclean, or against a carcass of an unclean beast, or against a carcass of unclean cattle, or against a carcass of an unclean teeming creature, and it hath been hidden from him, and he unclean and guilty, Or when he cometh against uncleanness of man, even any of his uncleanness whereby he is unclean, and it hath been hidden from him, and he hath known, and hath been guilty. Or when a person sweareth, speaking wrongfully with the lips to do evil or to do good, even anything which man speaketh wrongfully with an oath, and it hath been hid from him, when he hath known, then he hath been guilty of one of these. And it hath been when he is guilty of one of these, that he hath confessed concerning that which he hath sinned, and hath brought in his guilt offering to Jehovah for his sin which he hath sinned, a female out of the flock, a lamb, or a kid of the goats for a sin offering. And the priest hath made atonement for him because of his sin. And if his hand reach not to the sufficiency of a lamb, then he hath brought in his guilt offering, he who hath sinned, 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to Jehovah, one for a sin offering, and one for a burnt offering. And he hath brought them in unto the priest, and hath brought near that which is for a sin offering first, and hath wrung off its head from its neck, and doth not separate it. And he hath sprinkled of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, and that which is left of the blood is wrung out at the foundation of the altar. It is a sin offering. And the second he maketh a burnt offering, according to the ordinance, and the priest hath made atonement for him because of his sin which he hath sinned, and it hath been forgiven him. And if his hand reach not to 2 turtle doves or to 2 young pigeons, then he hath brought in his offering, he who hath sinned, 1/10 of an ephah of flour for a sin offering. He putteth no oil on it, nor doth he put on it frankincense, for it is a sin offering. And he hath brought it in unto the priest, and the priest hath taken a handful from it, the fullness of his hand, its memorial, and hath made perfume on the altar according to the fire offerings of Jehovah. It is a sin offering. And the priest hath made atonement for him, for his sin which he hath sinned against one of these, and it hath been forgiven him, and the remnant hath been to the priest, like the present. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, When a person committeth a trespass, and hath sinned through ignorance against the holy things of Jehovah, then he hath brought in his guilt offering to Jehovah, a ram, a perfect one, out of the flock, at thy valuation in silver, shekels by the shekels of the sanctuary, for a guilt offering. And that which he hath sinned against the holy thing he repayeth, and its 5th is adding to it, and hath given it to the priest, and the priest maketh atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering, and it hath been forgiven him. And when any person sinneth and hath done something against one of all the commands of Jehovah regarding things which are not to be done, and hath not known, and he hath been guilty, and hath borne his iniquity, then he hath brought in a ram, a perfect one out of the flock at thy valuation, for a guilt offering unto the priest. And the priest hath made atonement for him, for his ignorance in which he hath erred, and he hath not known, and it hath been forgiven him. It is a guilt offering. He hath been certainly guilty before Jehovah. Chapter 6. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, When any person doth sin, and hath committed a trespass against Jehovah, and hath lied to his fellow concerning a deposit, or concerning fellowship, or concerning violent robbery, or hath oppressed his fellow, or hath found a lost thing, and hath lied concerning it, and hath sworn to a falsehood, concerning one of all these which man doth, sinning in them, then it hath been when he sinneth and hath been guilty, that he hath returned the plunder which he hath taken violently away, or the thing which he hath got by oppression, or the deposit which hath been deposited with him, or the lost thing which he hath found, or all that concerning which he sweareth falsely, he hath even repaid it in its principal, and its 5th he is adding to it. To him whose it is he giveth it in the day of his guilt offering. And his guilt offering he bringeth in to Jehovah, a ram, a perfect one out of the flock, at thy estimation, for a guilt offering unto the priest. And the priest hath made atonement for him before Jehovah, and it hath been forgiven him, concerning one thing of all that he doth, by being guilty therein. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is a law of the burnt offering. It is the burnt offering because of the burning on the altar all the night unto the morning, and the fire of the altar is burning on it. that the priest hath put on his long robe of fine linen, and his fine linen trousers he doth put on his flesh, and hath lifted up the ashes which the fire consumeth with the burnt offering on the altar, and hath put them near the altar. And he hath stripped off his garments, and hath put on other garments, and hath brought out the ashes unto the outside of the camp, unto a clean place. And the fire on the altar is burning on it, it is not quenched. And the priest hath burned on it wood morning by morning, and hath arranged on it the burnt offering, and hath made perfume on it with the fat of the peace offerings. Fire is continually burning on the altar, it is not quenched. And this is a law of the present. Sons of Aaron have brought it near before Jehovah unto the front of the altar, and one hath lifted up of it with his hand from the flour of the present, and from its oil, and all the frankincense which is on the present, and hath made perfume on the altar, sweet fragrance, its memorial to Jehovah. And the remnant of it do Aaron and his sons eat. With unleavened things it is eaten in the holy place. In the court of the tent of meeting they do eat it. It is not baken with anything fermented. Their portion I have given it out of my fire offerings. It is most holy, like the sin offering, and like the guilt offering. Every male among the sons of Aaron doth eat it, a statute age-during to your generations, out of the fire offerings of Jehovah. All that cometh against them is holy. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, This is an offering of Aaron and of his sons, which they bring near to Jehovah in the day of his being anointed. 1/10 of the ephah of flour for a continual present, half of it in the morning, and half of it in the evening. On a griddle with oil it is made. Fried thou dost bring it in. Baked pieces of the present thou dost bring near, a sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And the priest who is anointed in his stead from among his sons doth make it, a statute age-during of Jehovah. It is completely perfumed. And every present of a priest is a whole burnt offering. It is not eaten. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, This is a law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is slaughtered is the sin offering slaughtered before Jehovah. It is most holy. The priest who is making atonement with it doth eat it. In the holy place it is eaten, in the court of the tent of meeting. All that cometh against its flesh is holy. And when any of its blood is sprinkled on the garment, that on which it is sprinkled thou dost wash in the holy place. And an earthen vessel in which it is boiled is broken. And if in a brass vessel it is boiled, then it is scoured and rinsed with water. Every male among the priests doth eat it. It is most holy. And no sin offering, any of whose blood is brought in unto the tent of meeting to make atonement in the sanctuary, is eaten. With fire it is burnt. Chapter 7. And this is a law of the guilt offering. It is most holy. In the place where they slaughter the burnt offering, they do slaughter the guilt offering, and its blood one doth sprinkle on the altar round about, and all its fat he bringeth near out of it, the fat tail, and the fat which is covering the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat which is on them, which is on the flanks, and the redundance above the liver. Beside the kidneys he doth turn it aside. And the priest hath made them a perfume on the altar, a fire offering to Jehovah. It is a guilt offering. Every male among the priests doth eat it. In the holy place it is eaten. It is most holy. As is a sin offering, so is a guilt offering. One law is for them. The priest who maketh atonement by it, it is his. And the priest who is bringing near any man's burnt offering, the skin of the burnt offering which he hath brought near, it is the priest's, his own. And every present which is baked in an oven, and every one done in a frying pan and on a griddle, is the priest's who is bringing it near. It is his. And every present, mixed with oil or dry, is for all the sons of Aaron, one as another. And this is a law of the sacrifice of the peace offerings which one bringeth near to Jehovah. If for a thank offering he bring it near, then he hath brought near with the sacrifice of thank offering unleavened cakes mixed with oil, and thin unleavened cakes anointed with oil, and of fried flour cakes mixed with oil. Besides the cakes, fermented bread he doth bring near with his offering, besides the sacrifice of thank offering of his peace offerings. And he hath brought near out of it one of the whole offering, a heave offering to Jehovah. To the priest who is sprinkling the blood of the peace offerings, it is his. As to the flesh of the sacrifice of the thank offering of his peace offerings, in the day of his offering it is eaten. He doth not leave of it till morning. And if the sacrifice of his offering is a vow or free will offering, in the day of his bringing near his sacrifice, it is eaten, and on the morrow also the remnant of it is eaten. And the remnant of the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day with fire is burnt. And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings be really eaten on the third day, it is not pleasing. For him who is bringing it near, it is not reckoned. It is an abominable thing. And the person who is eating of it, his iniquity doth bear. And the flesh which cometh against any unclean thing is not eaten. With fire it is burnt. As to the flesh, every clean one doth eat of the flesh. And the person who eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of the peace offerings which are Jehovah's, and his uncleanness upon him, even that person hath been cut off from his people. And when a person cometh against anything unclean, of the uncleanness of man, or of the uncleanness of beasts, or of any unclean teeming creature, and hath eaten of the flesh of the sacrifice of the peace offerings which are Jehovah's, even that person hath been cut off from his people. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, saying, Any fat of ox and sheep and goat ye do not eat, and the fat of a carcass and the fat of a torn thing is prepared for any work, but ye do certainly not eat it. For whoever eateth the fat of the beast, of which one bringeth near a fire offering to Jehovah, even the person who eateth hath been cut off from his people. And any blood ye do not eat in all your dwellings, of fowl or of beast. Any person who eateth any blood, even that person hath been cut off from his people. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, saying, He who is bringing near the sacrifice of his peace offerings to Jehovah doth bring in his offering to Jehovah from the sacrifice of his peace offerings. His own hands do bring in the fire offerings of Jehovah, the fat beside the breast, it he doth bring in with the breast, to wave it, a wave offering before Jehovah. And the priest hath made perfume with the fat on the altar, and the breast hath been Aaron's and his sons'. And the right leg ye do make a heave offering to the priest of the sacrifices of your peace offerings. He of the sons of Aaron who is bringing near the blood of the peace offerings and the fat, his is the right leg for a portion. For the breast of the wave offering and the leg of the heave offering I have taken from the sons of Israel from the sacrifices of their peace offerings, and I give them to Aaron the priest and to his sons by a statute age-during from the sons of Israel. This is the anointing of Aaron, and the anointing of his sons out of the fire offerings of Jehovah, in the day he hath brought them near to act as priest to Jehovah, which Jehovah hath commanded to give to them in the day of his anointing them from the sons of Israel, a statute age-during to their generations. This is the law for burnt offering, for present, and for sin offering, and for guilt offering, and for consecrations, and for a sacrifice of the peace offerings, which Jehovah hath commanded Moses in Mount Sinai, in the day of his commanding the sons of Israel to bring near their offerings to Jehovah in the wilderness of Sinai. The end of chapters 1 through 7. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 8 through 14 of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Book of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation. Chapter 8. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, and the anointing oil, and the bullock of the sin offering, and the 2 rams, and the basket of unleavened things, and all the company assemble thou unto the opening of the tent of meeting. And Moses doth as Jehovah hath commanded him, and the company is assembled unto the opening of the tent of meeting. And Moses saith unto the company, This is the thing which Jehovah hath commanded to do. And Moses bringeth near Aaron and his sons, and doth bathe them with water, and doth put on him the coat, and doth gird him with the girdle, and doth clothe him with the upper robe, and doth put on him the ephod, and doth gird him with the girdle of the ephod, and doth bind it to him with it. and doth put on him the breastplate, and doth put unto the breastplate the lights and the perfections, and doth put the mitre on his head, and doth put on the mitre over against its front the golden flower of the holy crown, as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. And Moses taketh the anointing oil, and anointeth the tabernacle and all that is in it, and sanctifieth them. And he sprinkleth of it on the altar 7 times, and anointeth the altar and all its vessels, and the laver and its base, to sanctify them. And he poureth of the anointing oil on the head of Aaron, and anointeth him to sanctify him. And Moses bringeth near the sons of Aaron, and doth clothe them with coats, and girdeth them with girdles, and bindeth for them turbans, as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. And he bringeth nigh the bullock of the sin offering, and Aaron layeth, his sons also, their heads on the head of the bullock of the sin offering, and one slaughtereth, and Moses taketh the blood, and putteth on the horns of the altar round about with his finger, and cleanseth the altar, and the blood he hath poured out at the foundation of the altar, and sanctifieth it, to make atonement upon it. And he taketh all the fat that is on the inwards, and the redundance above the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and Moses maketh perfume on the altar, and the bullock, and its skin, and its flesh, and its dung, he hath burnt with fire, at the outside of the camp, as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. And he bringeth near the ram of the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons lay their hands on the head of the ram, and one slaughtereth, and Moses sprinkleth the blood on the altar round about. And the ram he hath cut into its pieces, and Moses maketh perfume with the head, and the pieces, and the fat, and the inwards and the legs he hath washed with water. And Moses maketh perfume with the whole ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering for sweet fragrance. It is a fire offering to Jehovah, as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. And he bringeth near the 2nd ram, a ram of the consecrations. And Aaron and his sons lay their hands on the head of the ram, and one slaughtereth, and Moses taketh of its blood, and putteth on the tip of the right ear of Aaron, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot. And he bringeth near the sons of Aaron, and Moses putteth of the blood on the tip of their right ear, and on the thumb of their right hand, and on the great toe of their right foot. And Moses sprinkleth the blood on the altar round about, and taketh the fat, and the fat tail, and all the fat that is on the inwards, and the redundance above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and their fat, and the right leg. And out of the basket of unleavened things, which is before Jehovah, he hath taken 1 unleavened cake, and 1 cake of oiled bread, and 1 thin cake, and putteth them on the fat, and on the right leg. And putteth the whole on the hands of Aaron, and on the hands of his sons, and waveth them, a wave offering before Jehovah. And Moses taketh them from off their hands, and maketh perfume on the altar, on the burnt offering. They are consecrations for sweet fragrance. It is a fire offering to Jehovah. And Moses taketh the breast, and waveth it, a wave offering before Jehovah. Of the ram of the consecrations it hath been to Moses for a portion, as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. And Moses taketh of the anointing oil, and of the blood which is on the altar, and sprinkleth on Aaron, on his garments, and on his sons, and on the garments of his sons with him. And he sanctifieth Aaron, his garments, and his sons, and the garments of his sons with him. And Moses saith unto Aaron and unto his sons, Boil ye the flesh at the opening of the tent of meeting, and there ye do eat it, and the bread which is in the basket of the consecrations, as I have commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons do eat it. And the remnant of the flesh and of the bread with fire ye burn. And from the opening of the tent of meeting ye go not out 7 days, till the day of the fullness, the days of your consecration. For 7 days he doth consecrate your hand, as he hath done on this day, Jehovah hath commanded to do, to make atonement for you. And at the opening of the tent of meeting ye abide, by day and by night, 7 days. And ye have kept the charge of Jehovah, and die not, for so I have been commanded. And Aaron doth, his sons also, all the things which Jehovah hath commanded by the hand of Moses. Chapter 9. And it cometh to pass on the 8th day, Moses hath called for Aaron and for his sons, and for the elders of Israel. And he saith unto Aaron, Take to thyself a calf, a son of the herd, for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering, perfect ones, and bring near before Jehovah. And unto the sons of Israel thou dost speak, saying, Take ye a kid of the goats for a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, sons of a year, perfect ones, for a burnt offering, and a bullock and a ram for peace offerings, to sacrifice before Jehovah, and a present mixed with oil, for today Jehovah hath appeared unto you. And they take that which Moses hath commanded unto the front of the tent of meeting, and all the company draw near and stand before Jehovah. And Moses saith, This is the thing which Jehovah hath commanded. Do it, and the honor of Jehovah doth appear unto you. And Moses saith unto Aaron, Draw near unto the altar, and make thy sin offering, and thy burnt offering, and make atonement for thyself and for the people, and make the offering of the people, and make atonement for them, as Jehovah hath commanded. And Aaron draweth near unto the altar, and slaughtereth the calf of the sin offering which is for himself. And the sons of Aaron bring the blood near unto him, and he dippeth his finger in the blood, and putteth it on the horns of the altar. And the blood he hath poured out at the foundation of the altar. And the fat, and the kidneys, and the redundance of the liver, of the sin offering, he hath made a perfume on the altar, as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. And the flesh and the skin he hath burnt with fire at the outside of the camp. And he slaughtereth the burnt offering, and the sons of Aaron have presented unto him the blood, and he sprinkleth it on the altar round about. And the burnt offering they have presented unto him by its pieces, and the head, and he maketh perfume on the altar. And he washeth the inwards and the legs, and maketh perfume for the burnt offering on the altar. And he bringeth near the offering of the people, and taketh the goat of the sin offering which is for the people, and slaughtered it, and maketh it a sin offering, like the first. And he bringeth near the burnt offering, and maketh it according to the ordinance. And he bringeth near the present, and filleth his palm with it, and maketh perfume on the altar, apart from the burnt offering of the morning. And he slaughtereth the bullock and the ram, a sacrifice of the peace offerings, which are for the people, and sons of Aaron present the blood unto him, and he sprinkleth it on the altar round about. And the fat of the bullock and of the ram, the fat tail and the covering of the inwards, and the kidneys and the redundance above the liver. And they set the fat on the breasts, and he maketh perfume with the fat on the altar. And the breasts and the right leg hath Aaron waved, a wave offering before Jehovah, as he hath commanded Moses. And Aaron lifteth up his hand towards the people, and blesseth them, and cometh down from making the sin offering, and the burnt offering, and the peace offerings. And Moses goeth in, Aaron also, unto the tent of meeting, and they come out and bless the people. And the honor of Jehovah appeareth unto all the people. And fire cometh out from before Jehovah, and consumeth on the altar the burnt offering, and the fat. And all the people see and cry aloud, and fall on their faces. Chapter 10. And the sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, take each his censer, and put in them fire, and put on it perfume, and bring near before Jehovah strange fire, which he hath not commanded them. And fire goeth out from before Jehovah, and consumeth them, and they die before Jehovah. And Moses saith unto Aaron, It is that which Jehovah hath spoken, saying, By those drawing near to me I am sanctified, and in the face of all the people I am honored. And Aaron is silent. And Moses calleth unto Mishael and unto Elzaphan, sons of Uzziel, uncle of Aaron, and saith unto them, Come near, bear your brethren from the front of the sanctuary unto the outside of the camp. And they come near, and bear them in their coats unto the outside of the camp, as Moses hath spoken. And Moses saith unto Aaron, and to Eleazar, and to Ithamar his sons, Your heads ye do not uncover, and your garments ye do not rend, that ye die not, and on all the company he be wroth. As to your brethren, the whole house of Israel, they bewail the burning which Jehovah hath kindled. And from the opening of the tent of meeting ye do not go out, lest ye die. For the anointing oil of Jehovah is upon you. And they do according to the word of Moses. And Jehovah speaketh unto Aaron, saying, Wine and strong drink thou dost not drink, thou and thy sons with thee, in your going in unto the tent of meeting, and ye die not. a statute age-during to your generations, so as to make a separation between the holy and the common, and between the unclean and the pure, and to teach the sons of Israel all the statutes which Jehovah hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses. And Moses speaketh unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar his sons who are left. Take ye the present that is left from the fire offerings of Jehovah, and eat it unleavened near the altar, for it is most holy. And ye have eaten it in the holy place, for it is thy portion, and the portion of thy sons from the fire offerings of Jehovah, for so I have been commanded. And the breast of the wave offering, and the leg of the heave offering ye do eat in a clean place, thou and thy sons and thy daughters with thee, for thy portion and the portion of thy sons they have been given out of the sacrifices of peace offerings of the sons of Israel. The leg of the heave offering, and breast of the wave offering, besides fire offerings of the fat they do bring in to wave a wave offering before Jehovah. And it hath been to thee and to thy sons with thee, by a statute age-during, as Jehovah hath commanded. And the goat of the sin offering hath Moses diligently sought, and lo, it is burnt, and he is wroth against Eleazar and against Ithamar, sons of Aaron, who are left, saying, Wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place? For it is most holy, and it he hath given to you to take away the iniquity of the company, to make atonement for them before Jehovah. Lo, its blood hath not been brought in unto the holy place within. Eating ye do eat it in the holy place, as I have commanded. And Aaron speaketh unto Moses, Lo, today they have brought near their sin offering and their burnt offering before Jehovah, and things like these meet me. Yet I have eaten a sin offering today. Is it good in the eyes of Jehovah? And Moses hearkeneth, and it is good in his eyes. Chapter 11. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the sons of Israel, saying, This is the beast which ye do eat out of all the beasts which are on the earth. Any dividing a hoof, and cleaving the clefts of the hoof, bringing up the cud among the beasts, it ye do eat. Only this ye do not eat, of those bringing up the cud, and of those dividing the hoof. The camel, though it is bringing up the cud, yet the hoof not dividing, it is unclean to you. And the rabbit, though it is bringing up the cud, yet the hoof it divideth not, unclean it is to you. And the hare, though it is bringing up the cud, yet the hoof hath not divided, unclean it is to you. And the sow, though it is dividing the hoof, and cleaving the cleft of the hoof, yet the cud it bringeth not up, unclean it is to you. Of their flesh ye do not eat, and against their carcass ye do not come, unclean they are to you. This ye do eat of all which are in the waters. Any one that hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas and in the brooks, them ye do eat. And any one that hath not fins and scales in the seas and in the brooks, of any teeming creature of the waters, and of any creature which liveth, which is in the waters, an abomination they are to you. Yea, an abomination they are to you. Of their flesh ye do not eat, and their carcass ye abominate. Any one that hath not fins and scales in the waters, an abomination it is to you. And these ye do abominate of the fowl, they are not eaten, an abomination they are. The eagle, and the ossifrage, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after its kind, every raven after its kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after its kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gyre eagle, and the stork, the heron after its kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. Every teeming creature which is flying, which is going on four, an abomination it is to you. Only this ye do eat of any teeming thing which is flying, which is going on four, which hath legs above its feet to move with them on the earth. These of them ye do eat. The locust after its kind, and the bald locust after its kind, and the beetle after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind, and every teeming thing which is flying, which hath 4 feet, an abomination it is to you. And by these ye are made unclean. Any one who is coming against their carcass is unclean till the evening. And any one who is lifting up aught of their carcass doth wash his garments, and hath been unclean till the evening. Even every beast which is dividing the hoof, and is not cloven-footed, and the cud is not bringing up, unclean they are to you. Any one who is coming against them is unclean. And any one going on its paws among all the beasts which are going on four, unclean they are to you. Any one who is coming against their carcass is unclean until the evening. And he who is lifting up their carcass doth wash his garments, and hath been unclean until the evening. Unclean they are to you. And this is to you the unclean among the teeming things which are teeming on the earth: the weasel, and the mouse, and the tortoise after its kind, and the ferret, and the chameleon, and the lizard, and the snail, and the mole. These are the unclean to you among all which are teeming. Any one who is coming against them in their death is unclean till the evening. And anything on which any one of them falleth in their death is unclean, of any vessel of wood or garment or skin or sack. Any vessel in which work is done is brought into water, and hath been unclean till the evening. Then it hath been clean. And any earthen vessel, into the midst of which any one of them falleth, all that is in its midst is unclean, and it ye do break. Of all the food which is eaten, that on which cometh such water is unclean, and all drink which is drunk in any such vessel is unclean. And anything on which any of their carcass falleth is unclean, oven or double pots. It is broken down, unclean they are, yea, unclean they are to you. Only a fountain or pit, a collection of water, is clean, but that which is coming against their carcass is unclean. And when any of their carcass falleth on any sown seed which is sown, it is clean. And when water is put on the seed, and any of its carcass hath fallen on it, unclean it is to you. And when any of the beasts which are to you for food dieth, he who is coming against its carcass is unclean till the evening. And he who is eating of its carcass doth wash his garments, and hath been unclean till the evening. And he who is lifting up its carcass doth wash his garments, and hath been unclean till the evening. And every teeming thing which is teeming on the earth is an abomination; it is not eaten. Anything going on the belly, and any going on four, unto every multiplier of feet, to every teeming thing which is teeming on the earth, ye do not eat them, for they are an abomination. Ye do not make yourselves abominable with any teeming thing which is teeming, nor do ye make yourselves unclean with them, so that ye have been unclean thereby. For I am Jehovah your God, and ye have sanctified yourselves, and ye have been holy, for I am holy. And ye do not defile your persons with any teeming thing which is creeping on the earth. For I am Jehovah, who am bringing you up out of the land of Egypt, to become your God, and ye have been holy, for I am holy. This is a law of the beasts, and of the fowl, and of every living creature which is moving in the waters, and of every creature which is teeming on the earth, to make separation between the unclean and the pure, and between the beast that is eaten and the beast that is not eaten. Chapter 12. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, saying, A woman, when she giveth seed, and hath borne a male, then she hath been unclean 7 days, according to the days of separation for her sickness she is unclean. And in the 8th day is the flesh of his foreskin circumcised. And 33 days she doth abide in the blood of her cleansing. Against any holy thing she doth not come, and unto the sanctuary she doth not go in, till the fullness of the days of her cleansing. And if a female she bear, then she hath been unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation. And 66 days she doth abide for the blood of her cleansing. And in the fullness of the days of her cleansing for son or for daughter, she doth bring in a lamb, a son of a year, for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering, unto the opening of the tent of meeting, unto the priest. And he hath brought it near before Jehovah, and hath made atonement for her, and she hath been cleansed from the fountain of her blood. This is the law of her who is bearing, in regard to a male or to a female. And if her hand find not the sufficiency of a sheep, then she hath taken 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, one for a burnt offering, and one for a sin offering. And the priest hath made atonement for her, and she hath been cleansed. Chapter 13. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When a man hath in the skin of his flesh a rising, or scab, or bright spot, and it hath become in the skin of his flesh a leprous plague, then he hath been brought in unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priests. And the priest hath seen the plague in the skin of the flesh, and the hair in the plague hath turned white, and the appearance of the plague is deeper than the skin of his flesh. It is a plague of leprosy, and the priest hath seen him, and hath pronounced him unclean. And if the bright spot is white in the skin of his flesh, and its appearance is not deeper than the skin, and its hair hath not turned white, then hath the priest shut up him who hath the plague 7 days. And the priest hath seen him on the 7th day, and lo, the plague hath stood in his eyes, the plague hath not spread in the skin, and the priest hath shut him up a second 7 days. And the priest hath seen him on the 2nd 7th day, and lo, the plague is become weak, and the plague hath not spread in the skin. And the priest hath pronounced him clean. It is a scab, and he hath washed his garments, and hath been clean. And if the scab spread greatly in the skin, after his being seen by the priest for his cleansing, then he hath been seen a second time by the priest, and the priest hath seen, and lo, the scab hath spread in the skin, and the priest hath pronounced him unclean. It is leprosy. When a plague of leprosy is in a man, then he hath been brought in unto the priest, and the priest hath seen, and lo, a white rising in the skin, and it hath turned the hair white, and a quickening of raw flesh is in the rising. An old leprosy it is in the skin of his flesh, and the priest hath pronounced him unclean. He doth not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if the leprosy break out greatly in the skin, and the leprosy hath covered all the skin of him who hath the plague, from his head even unto his feet, to all that appeareth to the eyes of the priest, then hath the priest seen, and lo, the leprosy hath covered all his flesh, and he hath pronounced him who hath the plague clean. It hath all turned white. He is clean. And in the day of raw flesh being seen in him, he is unclean. And the priest hath seen the raw flesh, and hath pronounced him unclean. The raw flesh is unclean. It is leprosy. Or when the raw flesh turneth back, and hath been turned to white, then he hath come in unto the priest, and the priest hath seen him, and lo, the plague hath been turned to white, and the priest hath pronounced clean him who hath the plague. He is clean. And when flesh hath in its skin, an ulcer, and it hath been healed, and there hath been in the place of the ulcer a white rising, or a bright white spot, very red, then it hath been seen by the priest. And the priest hath seen, and lo, its appearance is lower than the skin, and its hair hath turned white. And the priest hath pronounced him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy. In an ulcer it hath broken out. And if the priest see it, and lo, there is no white hair in it, and it is not lower than the skin, and is become weak, then hath the priest shut him up 7 days. And if it spread greatly in the skin, then hath the priest pronounced him unclean. It is a plague. And if in its place the bright spot stay, it hath not spread. It is an inflammation of the ulcer, and the priest hath pronounced him clean. Or when flesh hath in its skin a fiery burning, and the quickening of the burning, the bright white spot, hath been very red or white, and the priest hath seen it, and lo, the hair hath turned white in the bright spot, and its appearance is deeper than the skin, leprosy it is, in the burning it hath broken out, and the priest hath pronounced him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy. And if the priest see it, and lo, there is no white hair on the bright spot, and it is not lower than the skin, and it is become weak, then the priest hath shut him up 7 days. And the priest hath seen him on the 7th day. If it spread greatly in the skin, then the priest hath pronounced him unclean. A plague of leprosy it is. And if the bright spot stay in its place, it hath not spread in the skin, and is become weak. A rising of the burning it is, and the priest hath pronounced him clean, for it is inflammation of the burning. And when a man, or a woman, hath in him a plague in the head or in the beard, then hath the priest seen the plague, and lo, its appearance is deeper than the skin, and in it a thin shining hair, and the priest hath pronounced him unclean. It is a scall, it is a leprosy of the head or of the beard. And when the priest seeth the plague of the scall, and lo, its appearance is not deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then hath the priest shut up him who hath the plague of the scall 7 days. And the priest hath seen the plague on the 7th day, and lo, the scall hath not spread, and a shining hair hath not been in it, and the appearance of the scall is not deeper than the skin. Then he hath shaved himself, but the scall he doth not shave. And the priest hath shut up him who hath the scall a second 7 days. And the priest hath seen the scall on the 7th day, and lo, the scall hath not spread in the skin, and its appearance is not deeper than the skin. And the priest hath pronounced him clean, and he hath washed his garments, and hath been clean. And if the scall spread greatly in the skin after his cleansing, and the priest hath seen him, and lo, the scall hath spread in the skin, the priest seeketh not for the shining hair, he is unclean. And if in his eyes the scall hath stayed, and black hair hath sprung up in it, the scall hath been healed, he is clean, and the priest hath pronounced him clean. And when a man or woman hath in the skin of their flesh bright spots, white bright spots, and the priest hath seen, and lo, in the skin of their flesh white weak bright spots, it is a freckled spot broken out in the skin, he is clean. And when a man's head is polished, he is bald, he is clean. And if from the corner of his face his head is polished, he is bald of the forehead, he is clean. And when there is in the bald back of the head, or in the bald forehead, a very red white plague, it is a leprosy breaking out in the bald back of the head, or in the bald forehead. And the priest hath seen him, and lo, the rising of the very red white plague in the bald back of the head, or in the bald forehead, is as the appearance of leprosy in the skin of the flesh. He is a leprous man, he is unclean. The priest doth pronounce him utterly unclean, his plague is in his head. As to the leper in whom is the plague, his garments are rent, and his head is uncovered, and he covereth over the upper lip, and unclean, unclean, he calleth. All the days that the plague is in him, he is unclean. He is unclean, alone he doth dwell, at the outside of the camp is his dwelling. And when there is in any garment a plague of leprosy, in a garment of wool, or in a garment of linen, or in the warp, or in the woof, of linen or of wool, or in a skin, or in any work of skin, and the plague hath been very green or very red in the garment, or in the skin, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in any vessel of skin, it is a plague of leprosy, and it hath been shewn the priest. And the priest hath seen the plague, and hath shut up that which hath the plague 7 days. And he hath seen the plague on the 7th day, and the plague hath spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in the skin, of all that is made of skin for work. The plague is a fretting leprosy, it is unclean. And he hath burnt the garment, or the warp, or the woof, in wool or in linen, or any vessel of skin in which the plague is, for it is a fretting leprosy, with fire it is burnt. And if the priest see, and lo, the plague hath not spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in any vessel of skin, then hath the priest commanded, and they have washed that in which the plague is, and he hath shut it up a second 7 days. And the priest hath seen that which hath the plague after it hath been washed, and lo, the plague hath not changed its aspect, and the plague hath not spread. It is unclean. With fire thou dost burn it. It is a fretting in its back part or in its front part. And if the priest hath seen, and lo, the plague is become weak after it hath been washed, then he hath rent it out of the garment, or out of the skin, or out of the warp, or out of the woof. And if it still be seen in the garment, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in any vessel of skin, it is a fretting. With fire thou dost burn it, that in which the plague is. And the garment, or the warp, or the woof, or any vessel of skin which thou dost wash when the plague hath turned aside from them, then it hath been washed a second time, and hath been clean. This is the law of a plague of leprosy in a garment of wool or of linen, or of the warp or of the woof, or of any vessel of skin, to pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean. Chapter 14. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, This is a law of the leper in the day of his cleansing, that he hath been brought in unto the priest, and the priest hath gone out unto the outside of the camp, and the priest hath seen, and lo, the plague of leprosy hath ceased from the leper, and the priest hath commanded, and he hath taken for him who is to be cleansed 2 clean living birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest hath commanded, and he hath slaughtered 1 bird upon an earthen vessel over running water. As to the living bird, he taketh it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and hath dipped them and the living bird in the blood of the slaughtered bird over the running water. And he hath sprinkled on him who is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and hath pronounced him clean, and hath sent out the living bird on the face of the field. And he who is to be cleansed hath washed his garments, and hath shaved all his hair, and hath bathed with water, and hath been clean. And afterwards he doth come in unto the camp, and hath dwelt at the outside of his tent 7 days. And it hath been on the 7th day, he shaveth all his hair, his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair he doth shave. And he hath washed his garments, and hath bathed his flesh with water, and hath been clean. And on the 8th day he taketh 2 lambs, perfect ones, and 1 ewe lamb, daughter of a year, a perfect one, and 3/10 deals of flour for a present, mixed with oil, and 1 log of oil. And the priest who is cleansing hath caused the man who is to be cleansed to stand with them before Jehovah at the opening of the tent of meeting. And the priest hath taken the 1 he lamb, and hath brought it near for a guilt offering, also the log of oil, and hath waved them, a wave offering before Jehovah. And he hath slaughtered the lamb in the place where he slaughtereth the sin offering and the burnt offering, in the holy place. For like the sin offering, the guilt offering is to the priest; it is most holy. And the priest hath taken of the blood of the guilt offering, and the priest hath put on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot. And the priest hath taken of the log of oil, and hath poured on the left palm of the priest. And the priest hath dipped his right finger in the oil which is on his left palm, and hath sprinkled of the oil with his finger 7 times before Jehovah. And of the residue of the oil which is on his palm, the priest putteth on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot, on the blood of the guilt offering. And the remnant of the oil which is on the palm of the priest he putteth on the head of him who is to be cleansed. And the priest hath made atonement for him before Jehovah. And the priest hath made the sin offering, and hath made atonement for him who is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. And afterwards he doth slaughter the burnt offering. And the priest hath caused the burnt offering to ascend, also the present, on the altar. And the priest hath made atonement for him, and he hath been clean. And if he is poor, and his hand is not reaching these things, then he hath taken 1 lamb, a guilt offering, for a wave offering, to make atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of flour mixed with oil for a present, and a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, which his hand reacheth to, and 1 hath been a sin offering, and the 1 a burnt offering. And he hath brought them in on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the opening of the tent of meeting, before Jehovah. And the priest hath taken the lamb of the guilt offering, and the log of oil, and the priest hath waved them, a wave offering before Jehovah. And he hath slaughtered the lamb of the guilt offering, and the priest hath taken of the blood of the guilt offering, and hath put on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot. And the priest doth pour of the oil on the left palm of the priest, and the priest hath sprinkled with his right finger of the oil which is on his left palm 7 times before Jehovah. And the priest hath put of the oil which is on his palm on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot, on the place of the blood of the guilt offering. And the remnant of the oil which is on the palm of the priest he doth put on the head of him who is to be cleansed, to make atonement for him before Jehovah. And he hath made the one of the turtle doves, or of the young pigeons, from that which his hand reacheth to, even that which his hand reacheth to, the one a sin offering, and the one a burnt offering, besides the present. And the priest hath made atonement for him who is to be cleansed before Jehovah. This is a law of him in whom is a plague of leprosy, whose hand reacheth not to his cleansing. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When ye come in unto the land of Canaan, which I am giving to you for a possession, and I have put a plague of leprosy in a house in the land of your possession, then hath he whose the house is come in and declared to the priest, saying, As a plague hath appeared to me in the house. And the priest hath commanded, and they have prepared the house before the priest cometh in to see the plague, that all which is in the house be not unclean. And afterwards doth the priest come in to see the house, and he hath seen the plague. And lo, the plague is in the walls of the house, hollow strakes, very green or very red, and their appearance is lower than the wall. And the priest hath gone out of the house unto the opening of the house, and hath shut up the house 7 days. And the priest hath turned back on the 7th day, and hath seen, and lo, the plague hath spread in the walls of the house. And the priest hath commanded, and they have drawn out the stones in which the plague is, and have cast them unto the outside of the city, unto an unclean place. And the house he doth cause to be scraped within round about, and they have poured out the clay which they have scraped off at the outside of the city at an unclean place. And they have taken other stones, and brought them in unto the place of the stones, and other clay he taketh and hath daubed the house. And if the plague return, and hath broken out in the house, after he hath drawn out the stones, and after the scraping of the house, and after the daubing, then hath the priest come in and seen, and lo, the plague hath spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house, it is unclean. And he hath broken down the house, its stones, and its wood, and all the clay of the house, and he hath brought them forth unto the outside of the city, unto an unclean place. And he who is going in unto the house all the days he hath shut it up, is unclean till the evening. And he who is lying in the house doth wash his garments, and he who is eating in the house doth wash his garments. And if the priest certainly come in, and hath seen, and lo, the plague hath not spread in the house after the daubing of the house, then hath the priest pronounced the house clean, for the plague hath been healed. And he hath taken for the cleansing of the house 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And he hath slaughtered the one bird upon an earthen vessel over running water. And he hath taken the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the living bird, and hath dipped them in the blood of the slaughtered bird, and in the running water, and hath sprinkled upon the house 7 times. And he hath cleansed the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet. And he hath sent away the living bird unto the outside of the city, unto the face of the field, and hath made atonement for the house, and it hath been clean. This is the law for every plague of the leprosy, and for scall, and for leprosy of a garment, and of a house, and for a rising, and for a scab, and for a bright spot, to direct in the day of being unclean, and in the day of being clean. This is the law of the leprosy. The end of chapters 8 through 14. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 15 through 21 of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Book of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation. Chapter 15. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and ye have said unto them, When there is an issue out of the flesh of any man, for his issue he is unclean. And this is his uncleanness in his issue. His flesh hath run with his issue, or his flesh hath stopped from his issue. It is his uncleanness. All the bed on which he lieth who hath the issue is unclean, and all the vessel on which he sitteth is unclean. And any one who cometh against his bed doth wash his garments, and hath bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And he who is sitting on the vessel on which he sitteth who hath the issue doth wash his garments, and hath bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And he who is coming against the flesh of him who hath the issue doth wash his garments, and hath bathed with water, and hath been unclean till the evening. And when he who hath the issue spitteth on him who is clean, then he hath washed his garments, and hath bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And all the saddle on which he rideth who hath the issue is unclean. And any one who is coming against anything which is under him is unclean till the evening. And he who is bearing them doth wash his garments, and hath bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And any one against whom he cometh who hath the issue, and his hands hath not rinsed with water, hath even washed his garments, and bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And the earthen vessel which he who hath the issue cometh against is broken, and every wooden vessel is rinsed with water. And when he who hath the issue is clean from his issue, then he hath numbered to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and hath washed his garments, and hath bathed his flesh with running water, and been clean. And on the 8th day he taketh to himself 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and hath come in before Jehovah unto the opening of the tent of meeting, and hath given them unto the priest. And the priest hath made them, one a sin offering, and the one a burnt offering. And the priest hath made atonement for him before Jehovah, because of his issue. And when a man's seed of copulation goeth out from him, then he hath bathed with water all his flesh, and been unclean till the evening. And any garment or any skin on which there is seed of copulation hath also been washed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And a woman with whom a man lieth with seed of copulation, they also have bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And when a woman hath an issue, blood is her issue in her flesh, 7 days she is in her separation, and any one who is coming against her is unclean till the evening. And anything on which she lieth in her separation is unclean, and anything on which she sitteth is unclean. And any one who is coming against her bed doth wash his garments, and hath bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And any one who is coming against any vessel on which she sitteth doth wash his garments, and hath washed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And if it is on the bed, or on the vessel on which she is sitting, in his coming against it, he is unclean till the evening. And if a man really lie with her, and her separation is on him, then he hath been unclean 7 days, and all the bed on which he lieth is unclean. And when a woman's issue of blood floweth many days within the time of her separation, or when it floweth over her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness are as the days of her separation. She is unclean. All the bed on which she lieth all the days of her issue is as the bed of her separation to her. And all the vessel on which she sitteth is unclean as the uncleanness of her separation. And any one who is coming against them is unclean, and hath washed his garments, and hath bathed with water, and been unclean till the evening. And if she hath been clean from her issue, then she hath numbered to herself 7 days, and afterwards she is clean. And on the 8th day she taketh to herself 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and hath brought them in unto the priest, unto the opening of the tent of meeting. And the priest hath made the one a sin offering, and the one a burnt offering, and the priest hath made atonement for her before Jehovah, because of the issue of her uncleanness. And ye have separated the sons of Israel from their uncleanness, and they die not in their uncleanness, in their defiling my tabernacle which is in their midst. This is the law of him who hath an issue, and of him whose seed of copulation goeth out from him, for uncleanness thereby, and of her who is sick in her separation, and of him who hath an issue, the issue of a male or of a female, and of a man who lieth with an unclean woman. Chapter 16. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron, in their drawing near before Jehovah, and they die. Yea, Jehovah saith unto Moses, Speak unto Aaron thy brother, and he cometh not in at all times unto the sanctuary within the veil, unto the front of the mercy seat, which is upon the ark, and he dieth not. For in a cloud I am seen upon the mercy seat. With this doth Aaron come in unto the sanctuary, with a bullock, a son of the herd, for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. A holy linen coat he putteth on, and linen trousers are on his flesh, and with a linen girdle he girdeth himself, and with a linen mitre he wrappeth himself up. They are holy garments. And he hath bathed with water his flesh, and hath put them on. And from the company of the sons of Israel he taketh 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. And Aaron hath brought near the bullock of the sin offering which is his own, and hath made atonement for himself, and for his house. And he hath taken the 2 goats, and hath caused them to stand before Jehovah at the opening of the tent of meeting. And Aaron hath given lots over the 2 goats, 1 lot for Jehovah, and 1 lot for a goat of departure. And Aaron hath brought near the goat on which the lot for Jehovah hath gone up, and hath made it a sin offering. And the goat on which the lot for a goat of departure hath gone up is caused to stand living before Jehovah, to make atonement by it, to send it away for a goat of departure into the wilderness. And Aaron hath brought near the bullock of the sin offering which is his own, and hath made atonement for himself and for his house, and hath slaughtered the bullock of the sin offering which is his own, and hath taken the fullness of the censer of burning coals of fire from off the altar, from before Jehovah, and the fullness of his hands of thin spice perfume, and hath brought it within the veil. And he hath put the perfume on the altar before Jehovah, and the cloud of the perfume hath covered the mercy seat which is on the testimony, and he dieth not. And he hath taken of the blood of the bullock, and hath sprinkled with his finger on the front of the mercy seat eastward, even at the front of the mercy seat he doth sprinkle 7 times of the blood with his finger. And he hath slaughtered the goat of the sin offering which is the people's, and hath brought in its blood unto the inside of the veil, and hath done with its blood as he hath done with the blood of the bullock, and hath sprinkled it on the mercy seat, and at the front of the mercy seat. And he hath made atonement for the sanctuary because of the uncleanness of the sons of Israel, and because of their transgressions in all their sins. And so he doth for the tent of meeting which is tabernacling with them in the midst of their uncleannesses. And no man is in the tent of meeting in his going in to make atonement in the sanctuary till his coming out. And he hath made atonement for himself, and for his house, and for all the assembly of Israel. And he hath gone out unto the altar which is before Jehovah, and hath made atonement for it. And he hath taken of the blood of the bullock, and of the blood of the goat, and hath put on the horns of the altar round about. And he hath sprinkled on it of the blood with his finger 7 times, and hath cleansed it, and hath hallowed it from the uncleannesses of the sons of Israel. And he hath ceased from making atonement for the sanctuary, and the tent of meeting, and the altar, and hath brought near the living goat. And Aaron hath laid his 2 hands on the head of the living goat, and hath confessed over it all the iniquities of the sons of Israel, and all their transgressions and all their sins, and hath put them on the head of the goat, and hath sent it away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness. And the goat hath borne on him all their iniquities unto a land of separation, and he hath sent the goat away into the wilderness. And Aaron hath come in unto the tent of meeting, and hath stripped off the linen garments which he had put on in his going in unto the sanctuary, and hath placed them there. And he hath bathed his flesh with water in the holy place, and hath put on his garments, and hath come out, and hath made his burnt offering, and the burnt offering of the people, and hath made atonement for himself, and for the people. And with the fat of the sin offering he doth make perfume on the altar. And he who is sending away the goat for a goat of departure doth wash his garments, and hath bathed his flesh with water, and afterwards he cometh in unto the camp. And the bullock of the sin offering, and the goat of the sin offering, whose blood hath been brought in to make atonement in the sanctuary, doth one bring out unto the outside of the camp, and they have burnt with fire their skins, and their flesh, and their dung. And he who is burning them doth wash his garments, and hath bathed his flesh with water, and afterwards he cometh in unto the camp. And it hath been to you for a statute, age during, in the 7th month, in the 10th of the month, ye humble yourselves, and do no work, the native and the sojourner who is sojourning in your midst. For on this day he maketh atonement for you, to cleanse you. From all your sins before Jehovah ye are clean. It is to you a Sabbath of rest, and ye have humbled yourselves, a statute age-during. And the priest whom he doth anoint, and whose hand he doth consecrate to act as priest instead of his father, hath made atonement, and hath put on the linen garments, the holy garments. And he hath made atonement for the holy sanctuary, and for the tent of meeting, even for the altar he doth make atonement. Yea, for the priests, and for all the people of the assembly he maketh atonement. And this hath been to you for a statute age-during, to make atonement for the sons of Israel because of all their sins, once in a year. And he doth as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. Chapter 17. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and to his sons, and unto all the sons of Israel. And thou hast said unto them, This is the thing which Jehovah hath commanded, saying, Any man of the house of Israel who slaughtereth ox, or lamb, or goat in the camp, or who slaughtereth at the outside of the camp, and unto the opening of the tent of meeting hath not brought it in to bring near an offering to Jehovah before the tabernacle of Jehovah, blood is reckoned to that man, blood he hath shed, and that man hath been cut off from the midst of his people. So that the sons of Israel do bring in their sacrifices which they are sacrificing on the face of the field, yea, they have brought them into Jehovah unto the opening of the tent of meeting unto the priest, and they have sacrificed sacrifices of peace offerings to Jehovah with them. And the priest hath sprinkled the blood upon the altar of Jehovah at the opening of the tent of meeting, and hath made perfume with the fat for sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And they sacrifice not any more their sacrifices to goats, after which they are going a-whoring. A statute age-during is this to them to their generations. And unto them thou sayest, Any man of the house of Israel, or of the sojourners who sojourneth in your midst, who causeth burnt offering or sacrifice to ascend, and unto the opening of the tent of meeting doth not bring it in to make it to Jehovah, that man hath been cut off from his people. And any man of the house of Israel, or of the sojourners, who is sojourning in your midst, who eateth any blood, I have even set my face against the person who is eating the blood, and have cut him off from the midst of his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood which maketh atonement for the soul. Therefore I have said to the sons of Israel, No person among you doth eat blood, and the sojourner who is sojourning in your midst doth not eat blood. And any man of the sons of Israel, or of the sojourners, who is sojourning in your midst, who hunteth venison, beast, or fowl which is eaten, hath even poured out its blood, and hath covered it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, its blood is for its life. And I say to the sons of Israel, Blood of any flesh ye do not eat, for the life of all flesh is its blood. Any one eating it is cut off. And any person who eateth a carcass or torn thing among natives or among sojourners hath both washed his garments, and hath bathed with water, and hath been unclean until the evening. Then he hath been clean. And if he wash not, and his flesh bathe not, then he hath borne his iniquity. Chapter 18. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, I am Jehovah your God. According to the work of the land of Egypt in which ye have dwelt ye do not, and according to the work of the land of Canaan whither I am bringing you in ye do not, and in their statutes ye walk not. My judgments ye do, and my statutes ye keep to walk in them. I am Jehovah your God. And ye have kept my statutes and my judgments which man doth and liveth in them. I am Jehovah. None of you unto any relation of his flesh doth draw near to uncover nakedness. I am Jehovah. The nakedness of thy father and the nakedness of thy mother thou dost not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou dost not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of the wife of thy father thou dost not uncover. It is the nakedness of thy father. The nakedness of thy sister, daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, born at home or born without, thou dost not uncover their nakedness. The nakedness of thy son's daughter, or of thy daughter's daughter, thou dost not uncover their nakedness, for theirs is thy nakedness. The nakedness of a daughter of thy father's wife, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister, thou dost not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of a sister of thy father thou dost not uncover, she is a relation of thy father. The nakedness of thy mother's sister thou dost not uncover, for she is thy mother's relation. The nakedness of thy father's brother thou dost not uncover, unto his wife thou dost not draw near, she is thine aunt. The nakedness of thy daughter-in-law thou dost not uncover, she is thy son's wife, thou dost not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of thy brother's wife thou dost not uncover, it is thy brother's nakedness. The nakedness of a woman and her daughter thou dost not uncover, her son's daughter and her daughter's daughter thou dost not take to uncover her nakedness, they are her relations, it is wickedness. And a woman unto another thou dost not take to be an adversary, to uncover her nakedness beside her in her life. And unto a woman in the separation of her uncleanness thou dost not draw near to uncover her nakedness. And unto the wife of thy fellow thou dost not give thy seed of copulation, for uncleanness with her. And of thy seed thou dost not give to pass over to the Molech, nor dost thou pollute the name of thy God. I am Jehovah. And with a male thou dost not lie as one lieth with a woman. Abomination it is. And with any beast thou dost not give thy copulation, for uncleanness with it. And a woman doth not stand before a beast to lie down with it. Confusion it is. Ye are not defiled with all these, for with all these have the nations been defiled which I am sending away from before you. And the land is defiled, and I charge its iniquity upon it, and the land vomiteth out its inhabitants. And ye have kept my statutes and my judgments, and do not any of all these abominations, the native and the sojourner who is sojourning in your midst. For all these abominations have the men of the land done who are before you, and the land is defiled. And the land doth not vomit you out in your defiling it, as it hath vomited out the nation which is before you. For any one who doth any of all these abominations, even the persons who are doing so, have been cut off from the midst of their people. And ye have kept my charge, so as not to do any of the abominable statutes which have been done before you, and ye do not defile yourselves with them. I am Jehovah your God. Chapter 19. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the company of the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, Ye are holy, for holy am I, Jehovah, your God. Each his mother and his father ye do fear, and my Sabbaths ye do keep. I am Jehovah your God. Ye do not turn unto the idols, and a molten god ye do not make to yourselves. I am Jehovah your God. And when ye sacrifice a sacrifice of peace offerings to Jehovah, at your pleasure ye do sacrifice it. In the day of your sacrificing it is eaten, and on the morrow, and that which is left unto the third day, with fire is burnt. And if it be really eaten on the third day, it is an abomination, it is not pleasing. And he who is eating it, his iniquity doth bear. For the holy thing of Jehovah he hath polluted, and that person hath been cut off from his people. And in your reaping the harvest of your land ye do not completely reap the corner of thy field, and the gleaning of thy harvest thou dost not gather, and thy vineyard thou dost not glean, even the omitted part of thy vineyard thou dost not gather. To the poor and to the sojourner thou dost leave them. I am Jehovah your God. Ye do not steal, nor feign, nor lie one against his fellow. And ye do not swear by my name to falsehood, or thou hast polluted the name of thy God. I am Jehovah. Thou dost not oppress thy neighbor, nor take plunder. The wages of the hireling doth not remain with thee till morning. Thou dost not revile the deaf, and before the blind thou dost not put a stumbling block, and thou hast been afraid of thy God. I am Jehovah. Ye do not do perversity in judgment. Thou dost not lift up the face of the poor, nor honor the face of the great. In righteousness thou dost judge thy fellow. Thou dost not go slandering among thy people. Thou dost not stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am Jehovah. Thou dost not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou dost certainly reprove thy fellow, and not suffer sin on him. Thou dost not take vengeance, nor watch the sons of thy people, and thou hast had love to thy neighbor as thyself. I am Jehovah. My statutes ye do keep. Thy cattle thou dost not cause to gender with divers kinds. Thy field thou dost not sow with divers kinds. And a garment of divers kinds, shatnez, doth not go up upon thee. And when a man lieth with a woman with seed of copulation, and she a maidservant betrothed to a man, and not really ransomed, or freedom hath not been given to her, an investigation there is, they are not put to death, for she is not free. And he hath brought in his guilt offering to Jehovah unto the opening of the tent of meeting, a ram for a guilt offering. And the priest hath made atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering before Jehovah, for his sin which he hath sinned, and it hath been forgiven him because of his sin which he hath sinned. And when ye come in unto the land, and have planted all kinds of trees for food, then ye have reckoned as uncircumcised its fruit. 3 years it is to you uncircumcised, it is not eaten, and in the 4th year all its fruit is holy. Praises for Jehovah. And in the 5th year ye do eat its fruit, to add to you its increase. I am Jehovah your God. Ye do not eat with the blood, ye do not enchant, nor observe clouds. Ye do not round the corner of your head, nor destroy the corner of thy beard. And a cutting for the soul ye do not put in your flesh, and a writing, a cross mark ye do not put on you. I am Jehovah. Thou dost not pollute thy daughter to cause her to go a-whoring, that the land go not a-whoring, and the land hath been full of wickedness. My Sabbaths ye do keep, and my sanctuary ye do reverence. I am Jehovah. Ye do not turn unto those having familiar spirits, and unto wizards ye do not seek, for uncleanness by them. I am Jehovah your God. At the presence of gray hairs thou dost rise up, and thou hast honored the presence of an old man, and hast been afraid of thy God. I am Jehovah. And when a sojourner sojourneth with thee in your land, thou dost not oppress him. As a native among you is the sojourner to you who is sojourning with you, and thou hast had love to him as to thyself. For sojourners ye have been in the land of Egypt. I am Jehovah your God. Ye do not do perversity in judgment, in meat yard, in weight, or in liquid measure. Righteous balances, righteous weights, a righteous ephah, and a righteous hin ye have. I am Jehovah your God, who hath brought you out from the land of Egypt. And ye have observed all my statutes, and all my judgments, and have done them. I am Jehovah. Chapter 20. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, And unto the sons of Israel thou dost say, Any man of the sons of Israel, and of the sojourners who is sojourning in Israel, who giveth of his seed to the Molech, is certainly put to death. The people of the land do stone him with stones, and I set my face against that man, and have cut him off from the midst of his people. For of his seed he hath given to the Molech, so as to defile my sanctuary, and to pollute my holy name. And if the people of the land really hide their eyes from that man in his giving of his seed to the Molech, so as not to put him to death, then I have set my face against that man and against his family, and have cut him off, and all who are going a-whoring after him, even going a-whoring after the Molech, from the midst of their people. And the person who turneth unto those having familiar spirits, and unto the wizards, to go a-whoring after them, I have even set my face against that person, and cut him off from the midst of his people. And ye have sanctified yourselves, and ye have been holy, for I am Jehovah your God, and ye have kept my statutes, and have done them. I am Jehovah, sanctifying you. For any man who revileth his father and his mother is certainly put to death. His father and his mother he hath reviled, his blood is on him. And a man who committeth adultery with a man's wife, who committeth adultery with the wife of his neighbor, the adulterer and the adulteress are surely put to death. And a man who lieth with his father's wife, the nakedness of his father he hath uncovered, both of them are certainly put to death, their blood is on them. And a man who lieth with his daughter-in-law, both of them are certainly put to death. Confusion they have made, their blood is on them. And a man who lieth with a male as one lieth with a woman, abomination both of them have done, they are certainly put to death, their blood is on them. And a man who taketh the woman and her mother, it is wickedness. With fire they burn him and them, and there is no wickedness in your midst. And a man who giveth his lying with a beast is certainly put to death, and the beast ye do slay. And a woman who draweth near unto any beast to lie with it, thou hast even slain the woman and the beast. They are certainly put to death, their blood is on them. And a man who taketh his sister, a daughter of his father or daughter of his mother, and he hath seen her nakedness, and she seeth his nakedness, it is a shame, and they have been cut off before the eyes of the sons of their people. The nakedness of his sister he hath uncovered, his iniquity he beareth. And a man who lieth with a sick woman, and hath uncovered her nakedness, her fountain he hath made bare, and she hath uncovered the fountain of her blood. Even both of them have been cut off from the midst of their people. And the nakedness of thy mother's sister, and of thy father's sister, thou dost not uncover, because his relation he hath made bare, their iniquity they bear. And a man who lieth with his aunt, the nakedness of his uncle he hath uncovered, their sin they bear, childless they die. And a man who taketh his brother's wife, it is impurity, the nakedness of his brother he hath uncovered, childless they are. And ye have kept all my statutes, and all my judgments, and have done them. And the land vomiteth you not out, whither I am bringing you in to dwell in it. And ye walk not in the statutes of the nation which I am sending away from before you, for all these they have done, and I am wearied with them. And I say to you, ye do possess their ground, and I give it to you to possess it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am Jehovah your God, who hath separated you from the peoples. And ye have made separation between the pure beasts and the unclean, and between the unclean fowl and the pure. And ye do not make yourselves abominable by beast or by fowl, or by anything which creepeth on the ground, which I have separated to you for unclean. And ye have been made holy to me, for holy am I, Jehovah. And I separate you from the peoples to become mine. And a man or woman, when there is in them a familiar spirit, or who are wizards, are certainly put to death, with stones they stone them, their blood is on them. Chapter 21. And Jehovah saith unto Moses, Speak unto the priests, sons of Aaron, and thou hast said unto them, For any person a priest is not defiled among his people, except for his relation who is near unto him, for his mother, and for his father, and for his son, and for his daughter, and for his brother. And for his sister the virgin who is near unto him, who hath not been to a man, for her he is defiled. A master priest doth not defile himself among his people to pollute himself. They do not make baldness on their head, and the corner of their beard they do not shave, and in their flesh they do not make a cutting. They are holy to their God, and they pollute not the name of their God, for the fire offerings of Jehovah, bread of their God, they are bringing near, and have been holy. A woman, a harlot, or polluted they do not take, and a woman cast out from her husband they do not take, for he is holy to his God. And thou hast sanctified him, for the bread of thy God he is bringing near, he is holy to thee, for holy am I, Jehovah, sanctifying you. And a daughter of any priest, when she polluteth herself by going a whoring, her father she is polluting. With fire she is burnt. And the high priest of his brethren, on whose head is poured the anointing oil, and hath consecrated his hand to put on the garments, his head doth not uncover, nor rend his garments, nor beside any dead person doth he come. For his father and for his mother he doth not defile himself. Nor from the sanctuary doth he go out, nor doth he pollute the sanctuary of his God, for the separation of the anointing oil of his God is on him. I am Jehovah. And he taketh a wife in her virginity, widow, or cast out, or polluted one, a harlot, these he doth not take, but a virgin of his own people he doth take for a wife. And he doth not pollute his seed among his people, for I am Jehovah, sanctifying him. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron, saying, No man of thy seed to their generations in whom there is blemish doth draw near to bring near the bread of his God. For no man in whom is blemish doth draw near, a man blind, or lame, or dwarfed, or enlarged, or a man in whom there is a breach in the foot, or a breach in the hand, or humped back, or a dwarf, or with a mixture in his eye, or a scurvy person, or scabbed, or broken testicled. No man in whom is blemish of the seed of Aaron the priest doth come nigh to bring near the fire offerings of Jehovah. Blemish is in him. The bread of his God he doth not come nigh to bring near. Bread of his God, of the most holy things and of the holy things he doth eat. Only unto the veil he doth not enter, and unto the altar he doth not draw nigh, for blemish is in him. And he doth not pollute my sanctuaries, for I am Jehovah, sanctifying them. And Moses speaketh unto Aaron, and unto his sons, and unto all the sons of Israel. The end of chapters 15 through 21. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 22 through 27 of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Book of Leviticus, from the Young's Literal Translation. Chapter 22. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, and they are separated from the holy things of the sons of Israel, and they pollute not my holy name in what they are hallowing to me. I am Jehovah. Say unto them, to your generations, any man who draweth near out of all your seed unto the holy things which the sons of Israel do sanctify to Jehovah, and his uncleanness on him, even that person hath been cut off from before me. I am Jehovah. Any man of the seed of Aaron, and is leprous or hath an issue, of the holy things he doth not eat till that he is clean. And he who is coming against any uncleanness of a person, or a man whose seed of copulation goeth out from him, or a man who cometh against any teeming thing which is unclean to him, or against a man who is unclean to him, even any of his uncleanness, the person who cometh against it hath even been unclean till the evening, and doth not eat of the holy things, but hath bathed his flesh with water. And the sun hath gone in, and he hath been clean, and afterwards he doth eat of the holy things, for it is his food. A carcass or torn thing he doth not eat, for uncleanness thereby. I am Jehovah. And they have kept my charge, and bear no sin for it, that they have died for it when they pollute it. I am Jehovah, sanctifying them. And no stranger doth eat of the holy thing. A settler of a priest and an hireling doth not eat of the holy thing. And when a priest buyeth a person, the purchase of his money, he doth eat of it. Also one born in his house, they do eat of his bread. And a priest's daughter, when she is a strange man's, she, of the heave offering of the holy things, doth not eat. And a priest's daughter, when she is a widow, or cast out, and hath no seed, and hath turned back unto the house of her father, as in her youth, of her father's bread she doth eat, but no stranger doth eat of it. And when a man doth eat of a holy thing through ignorance, then he hath added its fifth part to it, and hath given it to the priest with the holy thing. And they do not pollute the holy things of the sons of Israel, that which they lift up to Jehovah, nor have caused them to bear the iniquity of the guilt offering in their eating their holy things. For I am Jehovah, sanctifying them. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, and unto all the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, Any man of the house of Israel, or of the sojourners in Israel, who bringeth near his offering of all his vows, or of all his willing offerings which they bring near to Jehovah for a burnt offering, at your pleasure a perfect one, a male of the herd, of the sheep or of the goats. Nothing in which is blemish do ye bring near, for it is not for a pleasing thing for you. And when a man bringeth near a sacrifice of peace offerings to Jehovah, to complete a vow, or for a willing offering, of the herd or of the flock, it is perfect for a pleasing thing, no blemish is in it. Blind, or broken, or maimed, or having a wen, or scurvy, or scabbed, ye do not bring these things near to Jehovah, and a fire offering ye do not make of them on the altar to Jehovah. As to an ox or a sheep enlarged or dwarfed, a willing offering ye do make it, but for a vow it is not pleasing. As to a bruised or beaten or enlarged or cut thing, ye do not bring it near to Jehovah, even in your land ye do not do it. And from the hand of a son of a stranger ye do not bring near the bread of your God, of any of these, for their corruption is in them, blemish is in them, they are not pleasing for you. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, When ox or lamb or goat is born, and it hath been 7 days under its dam, then from the 8th day and henceforth it is pleasing for an offering, a fire offering to Jehovah. But an ox or sheep, it and its young one ye do not slaughter in 1 day. And when ye sacrifice a sacrifice of thanksgiving to Jehovah, at your pleasure ye do sacrifice. On that day it is eaten. Ye do not leave of it till morning. I am Jehovah. And ye have kept my commands, and have done them. I am Jehovah. And ye do not pollute my holy name, and I have been hallowed in the midst of the sons of Israel. I am Jehovah, sanctifying you, who am bringing you up out of the land of Egypt, to become your God. I am Jehovah. Chapter 23. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, Appointed seasons of Jehovah, which ye proclaim, holy convocations are these. They are my appointed seasons. 6 days is work done, and in the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. Ye do no work, it is a Sabbath to Jehovah in all your dwellings. These are appointed seasons of Jehovah, holy convocations, which ye proclaim in their appointed seasons. In the 1st month, on the 14th of the month, between the evenings, is the Passover to Jehovah. And on the 15th day of this month is the feast of unleavened things to Jehovah. 7 days unleavened things ye do eat. On the 1st day ye have a holy convocation, ye do no servile work. And ye have brought near a fire offering to Jehovah 7 days. In the 7th day is a holy convocation, ye do no servile work. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, When ye come in unto the land which I am giving to you, and have reaped its harvest, and have brought in the sheaf, the beginning of your harvest, unto the priest, then he hath waved the sheaf before Jehovah for your acceptance. On the morrow of the Sabbath doth the priest wave it. And ye have prepared in the day of your waving the sheaf a lamb, a perfect one, a son of a year, for a burnt offering to Jehovah. And its present 2/10 deals of flour mixed with oil, a fire offering to Jehovah, a sweet fragrance, and its drink offering, wine, 1/4 of the hin. And bread and roasted corn and full ears ye do not eat until this selfsame day, until your bringing in the offering of your God, a statute age-during to your generations in all your dwellings. And ye have numbered to you from the morrow of the Sabbath, from the day of your bringing in the sheaf of the wave offering. They are 7 perfect Sabbaths. Unto the morrow of the 7th Sabbath ye do number 50 days, and ye have brought near a new present to Jehovah. Out of your dwellings ye bring in bread of a wave offering, 2 loaves, of 2/10 deals of flour they are, with yeast they are baken, first fruits to Jehovah. And ye have brought near, besides the bread, 7 lambs, perfect ones, sons of a year, and 1 bullock, a son of the herd, and 2 rams. They are a burnt offering to Jehovah, with their present and their libations, a fire offering of sweet fragrance to Jehovah. And ye have prepared 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs, sons of a year, for a sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest hath waved them besides the bread of the firstfruits, a wave offering before Jehovah, besides the 2 lambs. They are holy to Jehovah for the priest. And ye have proclaimed on this selfsame day, A holy convocation is to you, ye do no servile work, a statute age-during in all your dwellings to your generations. And in your reaping the harvest of your land thou dost not complete the corner of thy field in thy reaping, and the gleaning of thy harvest thou dost not gather, to the poor and to the sojourner thou dost leave them. I, Jehovah, am your God. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, on the 1st of the month, ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of shouting, a holy convocation. Ye do no servile work, and ye have brought near a fire offering to Jehovah. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Only on the 10th of this 7th month is a day of atonements. Ye have a holy convocation, and ye have humbled yourselves, and have brought near a fire offering to Jehovah. And ye do no work in this selfsame day, for it is a day of atonements, to make atonement for you before Jehovah your God. For any person who is not humbled in this selfsame day hath even been cut off from his people. And any person who doth any work in this selfsame day, I have even destroyed that person from the midst of his people. Ye do no work, a statute age-during to your generations in all your dwellings. It is a Sabbath of rest to you, and ye have humbled yourselves in the 9th of the month at even. From evening till evening ye do keep your Sabbath. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, saying, In the 15th day of this 7th month is a feast of booths, 7 days to Jehovah. On the 1st day is a holy convocation. Ye do no servile work. 7 days ye bring near a fire offering to Jehovah. On the 8th day ye have a holy convocation, and ye have brought near a fire offering to Jehovah. It is a restraint. Ye do no servile work. These are appointed seasons of Jehovah, which ye proclaim holy convocations, to bring near a fire offering to Jehovah, a burnt offering and a present, a sacrifice, and libations, a thing of a day in its day. Apart from the Sabbaths of Jehovah, and apart from your gifts, and apart from all your vows, and apart from all your willing offerings, which ye give to Jehovah. Only in the 15th day of the 7th month, in your gathering the increase of the land, ye do keep the feast of Jehovah 7 days. On the 1st day is a Sabbath, and on the 8th day a Sabbath. And ye have taken to yourselves on the 1st day the fruit of beautiful trees, branches of palms, and boughs of thick trees, and willows of a brook, and have rejoiced before Jehovah your God 7 days. And ye have kept it a feast to Jehovah 7 days in a year, a statute age-during to your generations. In the 7th month ye keep it a feast. In booths ye dwell 7 days. All who are natives in Israel dwell in booths, so that your generations do know that in booths I caused the sons of Israel to dwell, in my bringing them out of the land of Egypt. I, Jehovah, am your God. And Moses speaketh concerning the appointed seasons of Jehovah unto the sons of Israel. Chapter 24. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Command the sons of Israel, and they bring unto thee pure olive oil, beaten, for the lamp, to cause a light to go up continually. At the outside of the veil of the testimony in the tent of meeting doth Aaron arrange it from evening till morning before Jehovah continually, a statute age-during to your generations. By the pure candlestick he doth arrange the lights before Jehovah continually. And thou hast taken flour, and hast baked 12 cakes with it. 2/10 deals are in the 1 cake, and thou hast set them 2 ranks, 6 in the rank, on the pure table before Jehovah. And thou hast put on the rank pure frankincense, and it hath been to the bread for a memorial, a fire offering to Jehovah. On each Sabbath day he arrangeth it before Jehovah continually, from the sons of Israel, a covenant age-during. And it hath been to Aaron and to his sons, and they have eaten it in the holy place, for it is most holy to him, from the fire offerings of Jehovah, a statute age-during. And a son of an Israelitish woman goeth out, and he is son of an Egyptian man, in the midst of the sons of Israel, and strive in the camp do the son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel. And the son of the Israelitish woman execrateth the name, and revileth. And they bring him in unto Moses, and his mother's name is Shelomith, daughter of Dibri of the tribe of Dan. And he causeth him to rest in charge, to explain to them by the mouth of Jehovah. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Bring out the reviler unto the outside of the camp. And all those hearing have laid their hands on his head, and all the company have stoned him. And unto the sons of Israel thou dost speak, saying, When any man revileth his God, then he hath borne his sin. And he who is execrating the name of Jehovah is certainly put to death. All the company do certainly cast stones at him. As a sojourner, so a native, in his execrating the name, is put to death. And when a man smiteth any soul of man, he is certainly put to death. And he who smiteth a beast repayeth it, body for body. And when a man putteth a blemish in his fellow, as he hath done so, it is done to him. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he putteth a blemish in a man, so it is done in him. And he who smiteth a beast repayeth it, and he who smiteth the life of man is put to death. One judgment is to you, as a sojourner, so is a native. For I am Jehovah your God. And Moses speaketh unto the sons of Israel, and they bring out the reviler unto the outside of the camp, and stone him with stones. And the sons of Israel have done as Jehovah hath commanded Moses. Chapter 25. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, When ye come in unto the land which I am giving to you, then hath the land kept a Sabbath to Jehovah. 6 years thou dost sow thy field, and 6 years thou dost prune thy vineyard, and hast gathered its increase. And in the 7th year a Sabbath of rest is to the land, a Sabbath to Jehovah. Thy field thou dost not sow, and thy vineyard thou dost not prune. The spontaneous growth of thy harvest thou dost not reap, and the grapes of thy separated thing thou dost not gather. A year of rest it is to the land. And the Sabbath of the land hath been to you for food, to thee, and to thy manservant, and to thy handmaid, and to thy hireling, and to thy settler, who are sojourning with thee, and to thy cattle, and to the beast which is in thy land, is all thine increase for food. And thou hast numbered to thee 7 Sabbaths of years, 7 years 7 times, and the days of the 7 Sabbaths of years have been to thee 49 years. And thou hast caused a trumpet of shouting to pass over in the 7th month, in the 10th of the month. In the day of the atonements ye do cause a trumpet to pass over through all your land. And ye have hallowed the year, the 50th year, and ye have proclaimed liberty in the land to all its inhabitants. A jubilee it is to you, and ye have turned back each unto his possession. Yea, each unto his family ye do turn back. A jubilee it is, the 50th year, a year it is to you. Ye sow not, nor reap its spontaneous growth, nor gather its separated things. For a jubilee it is. Holy it is to you. Out of the field ye eat its increase. In the year of this jubilee ye turn back each unto his possession. And when thou sellest anything to thy fellow, or buyest from the hand of thy fellow, ye do not oppress one another. By the number of years after the jubilee thou dost buy from thy fellow. By the number of the years of increase he doth sell to thee. According to the multitude of the years thou dost multiply its price, and according to the fewness of the years thou dost diminish its price. For a number of increases he is selling to thee. And ye do not oppress one another. And thou hast been afraid of thy God, for I am Jehovah your God. And ye have done my statutes, and my judgments ye keep, and have done them, and ye have dwelt on the land confidently. And the land hath given its fruit, and ye have eaten to satiety, and have dwelt confidently on it. And when ye say, What do we eat in the 7th year? Lo, we do not sow, nor gather our increase. Then I have commanded my blessing on you in the 6th year, and it hath made the increase for 3 years. And ye have sown the 8th year, and have eaten of the old increase. Until the 9th year, until the coming in of its increase, ye do eat the old. And the land is not sold to extinction, for the land is mine, for sojourners and settlers are ye with me. And in all the land of your possession a redemption ye do give to the land. When thy brother becometh poor, and hath sold his possession, then hath his redeemer who is near unto him come, and he hath redeemed the sold thing of his brother. And when a man hath no redeemer, and his own hand hath attained, and he hath found as sufficient for its redemption, Then he hath reckoned the years of its sale, and hath given back that which is over to the man to whom he sold it, and he hath returned to his possession. And if his hand hath not found sufficiency to give back to him, then hath his sold thing been in the hand of him who buyeth it, till the year of Jubilee. And it hath gone out in the Jubilee, and he hath returned to his possession. And when a man selleth a dwelling house in a walled city, then hath his right of redemption been until the completion of a year from its selling. Days is his right of redemption. And if it is not redeemed until the fullness to him of a perfect year, then hath the house which is in a walled city been established to extinction to the buyer of it. To his generations it goeth not out in the Jubilee. And a house of the villages which have no wall round about, on the field of the country is reckoned. Redemption is to it, and in the Jubilee it goeth out. As to cities of the Levites, houses of the cities of their possession, redemption age during is to the Levites. As to him who redeemeth from the Levites, both the sale of a house and the city of his possession have gone out in the Jubilee. For the houses of the cities of the Levites are their possession in the midst of the sons of Israel. And a field, a suburb of their cities, is not sold, for a possession age during it is to them. And when thy brother is become poor, and his hand hath failed with thee, then thou hast kept hold on him, sojourner and settler, and he hath lived with thee. Thou takest no usury from him, or increase. And thou hast been afraid of thy God, and thy brother hath lived with thee. Thy money thou givest not to him in usury, and for increase thou givest not thy food. I am Jehovah your God, who hath brought you out of the land of Egypt, to give to you the land of Canaan, to become your God. And when thy brother becometh poor with thee, and he hath been sold to thee, thou dost not lay on him servile service. As an hireling, as a settler he is with thee, till the year of the Jubilee he doth serve with thee. Then he hath gone out from thee, he and his sons with him, and hath turned back unto his family, even unto the possession of his fathers he doth turn back. For they are my servants, whom I have brought out from the land of Egypt. They are not sold with the sale of a servant. Thou rulest not over him with rigor, and thou hast been afraid of thy God. And thy manservant and thy handmaid whom thou hast are of the nations who are round about you. Of them ye buy manservant and handmaid, and also of the sons of the settlers who are sojourning with you. Of them ye buy, and of their families who are with you, which they have begotten in your land, and they have been to you for a possession. And ye have taken them for inheritance to your sons after you, to occupy for a possession. To the age ye lay service upon them, but upon your brethren the sons of Israel, one with another, thou dost not rule over him with rigor. And when the hand of a sojourner or settler with thee attaineth riches, and thy brother with him hath become poor, and he hath been sold to a sojourner, a settler with thee, or to the root of the family of a sojourner, after he hath been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. One of his brethren doth redeem him. Or his uncle or a son of his uncle doth redeem him, or any of the relations of his flesh, of his family, doth redeem him. Or his own hand hath attained, then he hath been redeemed. And he hath reckoned with his buyer from the year of his being sold to him till the year of Jubilee. And the money of his sale hath been by the number of years, as the days of an hireling it is with him. If yet many years, according to them he giveth back his redemption money from the money of his purchase. And if few are left of the years till the year of Jubilee, then he hath reckoned with him, according to his years he doth give back his redemption money. As an hireling, year by year he is with him, and he doth not rule him with rigor before thine eyes. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he hath gone out in the year of Jubilee, he and his sons with him. For to me are the sons of Israel servants, my servants they are, whom I have brought out of the land of Egypt. I, Jehovah, am your God. Chapter 26. Ye do not make to yourselves idols, and graven image or standing image ye do not set up to yourselves, and a stone of imagery ye do not put in your land, to bow yourselves to it. For I am Jehovah your God. My Sabbaths ye do keep, and my sanctuary ye do reverence. I am Jehovah. If in my statutes ye walk, and my commands ye keep, and have done them, then I have given your rains in their season, and the land hath given her produce, and the tree of the field doth give its fruit. And reached to you hath the threshing, the gathering, and the gathering doth reach the sowing time, and ye have eaten your bread to satiety, and have dwelt confidently in your land. And I have given peace in the land, and ye have lain down, and there is none causing trembling. And I have caused evil beasts to cease out of the land, and the sword doth not pass over into your land. And ye have pursued your enemies, and they have fallen before you by the sword. And 5 of you have pursued 100, and 100 of you do pursue a myriad, and your enemies have fallen before you by the sword. And I have turned unto you, and have made you fruitful, and have multiplied you, and have established my covenant with you. And ye have eaten old store, and the old because of the new ye bring out. And I have given my tabernacle in your midst, and my soul doth not loathe you. And I have walked habitually in your midst, and have become your God, and ye are become my people. I am Jehovah your God, who have brought you out of the land of the Egyptians, from being their servants. And I break the bars of your yoke, and cause you to go erect. And if ye do not hearken to me, and do not all these commands, and if at my statutes ye kick, and if my judgments your soul loathe, so as not to do all my commands, to your breaking my covenant, I also do this to you, and I have appointed over you trouble, the consumption, and the burning fever, consuming eyes, and causing pain of soul. And your seed in vain ye have sowed, and your enemies have eaten it. And I have set my face against you, and ye have been smitten before your enemies. And those hating you have ruled over you, and ye have fled, and there is none pursuing you. And if unto these ye hearken not to me, then I have added to chastise you 7 times for your sins. And I have broken the pride of your strength, and have made your heavens as iron, and your earth as brass. And consumed hath been your strength in vain, and your land doth not give her produce, and the tree of the land doth not give its fruit. And if ye walk with me in opposition, and are not willing to hearken to me, then I have added to you a plague 7 times according to your sins, and sent against you the beast of the field, and it hath bereaved you, and I have cut off your cattle, and have made you few, and your ways have been desolate. And if by these ye are not instructed by me, and have walked with me in opposition, then I have walked, I also, with you in opposition, and have smitten you, even I, 7 times for your sins. And I have brought in on you a sword, executing the vengeance of a covenant. And ye have been gathered unto your cities, and I have sent pestilence into your midst, and ye have been given into the hand of an enemy. In my breaking to you the staff of bread, then 10 women have baked your bread in one oven, and have given back your bread by weight, and ye have eaten, and are not satisfied. And if for this ye hearken not to me, and have walked with me in opposition, then I have walked with you in the fury of opposition, and have chastised you, even I, 7 times for your sins. And ye have eaten the flesh of your sons, even flesh of your daughters ye do eat. And I have destroyed your high places, and cut down your images, and have put your carcasses on the carcasses of your idols, and my soul hath loathed you. And I have made your cities a waste, and have made desolate your sanctuaries, and I smell not at your sweet fragrances. And I have made desolate the land, and your enemies who are dwelling in it have been astonished at it. And you I scatter among nations, and have drawn out after you a sword, and your land hath been a desolation, and your cities are a waste. Then doth the land enjoy its Sabbaths, all the days of the desolation, and ye in the land of your enemies. Then doth the land rest, and hath enjoyed its Sabbaths. All the days of the desolation it resteth, that which it hath not rested in your Sabbaths, in your dwelling on it. And those who are left of you, I have also brought a faintness into their heart in the lands of their enemies. And the sound of a leaf driven away hath pursued them, and they have fled, flight from a sword, and they have fallen, and there is none pursuing. And they have stumbled one on another, as from the face of a sword, and there is none pursuing, and ye have no standing before your enemies. And ye have perished among the nations, and the land of your enemies hath consumed you. And those who are left of you, they consume away in their iniquity in the lands of your enemies, and also in the iniquities of their fathers, with them they consume away. And they have confessed their iniquity, and the iniquity of their fathers in their trespass, which they have trespassed against me, and also that they have walked with me in opposition. Also I walked to them in opposition, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. Or then their uncircumcised heart is humbled, and then they accept the punishment of their iniquity. Then I have remembered my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham I remember, and the land I remember. And the land is left of them, and doth enjoy its Sabbaths, in the desolation without them, and they accept the punishment of their iniquity, because against my judgments they have kicked, and my statutes hath their soul loathed. And also even this, in their being in the land of their enemies, I have not rejected them, nor have I loathed them, to consume them, to break my covenant with them, for I am Jehovah their God. Then I have remembered for them the covenant of the ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt, before the eyes of the nations, to become their God. I am Jehovah. These are the statutes and the judgments and the laws which Jehovah hath given between him and the sons of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. Chapter 27. And Jehovah speaketh unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and thou hast said unto them, When a man maketh a wonderful vow, by thy valuation the persons are Jehovah's. When thy valuation hath been of the male from a son of 20 years, even unto a son of 60 years, then hath been thy valuation 50 shekels of silver by the shekel of the sanctuary. And if it is a female, then hath thy valuation been 30 shekels. And if from a son of 5 years, even unto a son of 20 years, then hath thy valuation been of the male 20 shekels, and for the female 10 shekels. And if from a son of a month, even unto a son of 5 years, then hath thy valuation been of the male 5 shekels of silver, and for the female thy valuation is 3 shekels of silver. And if from a son of 60 years and above, if a male, then hath thy valuation been 15 shekels, and for a female 10 shekels. And if he is poorer than thy valuation, then he hath presented himself before the priest, and the priest hath valued him. According to that which the hand of him who is vowing doth reach, doth the priest value him. And if it is a beast of which they bring near an offering to Jehovah, all that one giveth of it to Jehovah is holy. He doth not change it, nor exchange it, a good for a bad, or a bad for a good. And if he really change beast for beast, then it hath been, it and its exchange is holy. And if it is any unclean beast of which they do not bring near an offering to Jehovah, then he hath presented the beast before the priest. And the priest hath valued it, whether good or bad, according to thy valuation, O priest, so it is. And if he really redeem it, then he hath added its fifth to thy valuation. And when a man sanctifieth his house, a holy thing to Jehovah, then hath the priest valued it, whether good or bad, as the priest doth value it, so it standeth. And if he who is sanctifying doth redeem his house, then he hath added a fifth of the money of thy valuation to it, and it hath become his. And if of the field of his possession a man sanctify to Jehovah, then hath thy valuation been according to its seed, a homer of barley seed at 50 shekels of silver. If from the year of the Jubilee he sanctify his field, according to thy valuation it standeth. And if after the Jubilee he sanctify his field, then hath the priest reckoned to him the money according to the years which are left unto the year of the Jubilee, and it hath been abated from thy valuation. And if he really redeem the field, he who is sanctifying it, then he hath added a fifth of the money of thy valuation to it, and it hath been established to him. And if he do not redeem the field, or if he hath sold the field to another man, it is not redeemed any more. And the field hath been, in its going out in the Jubilee, holy to Jehovah as a field which is devoted. To the priest is its possession. And if the field of his purchase, which is not of the fields of his possession, one sanctify to Jehovah, then hath the priest reckoned to him the amount of thy valuation unto the year of Jubilee, and he hath given thy valuation in that day, a holy thing to Jehovah. In the year of the Jubilee the field returneth to him from whom he bought it, to him whose is the possession of the land. And all thy valuation is by the shekel of the sanctuary. 20 gerahs is the shekel. Only a firstling which is Jehovah's firstling among beasts. No man doth sanctify it, whether ox or sheep. It is Jehovah's. And if among the unclean beasts, then he hath ransomed it at thy valuation, and he hath added its fifth to it. And if it is not redeemed, then it hath been sold at thy valuation. Only no devoted thing which a man devoteth to Jehovah, of all that he hath, of man and beast, and of the field of his possession, is sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing is most holy to Jehovah. No devoted thing which is devoted of man is ransomed, it is surely put to death. And all tithe of the land, of the seed of the land, of the fruit of the tree, is Jehovah's, holy to Jehovah. And if a man really redeem any of his tithe, its fifth he addeth to it. And all the tithe of the herd and of the flock, all that passeth by under the rod, the 10th is holy to Jehovah. He inquireth not between good and bad, nor doth he change it. And if he really change it, then it hath been, it and its exchange is holy, it is not redeemed. These are the commands which Jehovah hath commanded Moses for the sons of Israel in Mount Sinai. The end of chapters 22 through 27, and the end of the book of Leviticus from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. Recording by Mark Penfold.